What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Fireside Giants. I'm your host, Anthony Rivardo, and today I'm back. I'm right back where I started here on Fireside Giants. We've gone about 5 days without an episode. I can't even remember the last time we went that long without an episode, but I was traveling. I was up in New York City at Fanatics Fest at the Javits Center, and now I'm here on this fine Tuesday noon, not afternoon, but it's directly noon, to share with you guys all the things that I learned at Fanatics Fest and also have a conversation with you all about Odell Beckham Jr. and his apparent possible interest in rejoining the New York Giants and anything else that you guys are interested in hearing me discuss. Obviously, leave your thoughts and comments down in the live chat because, Justin, I see you. This is not pre-recorded. This is a live stream. I am live. Send me your questions. Let's talk. Let's chat. Let's just talk New York Giants, baby. We got a lot to discuss. I mean, listen, it is the slow part of the offseason. There's not a ton going on for the New York Giants, but as always, I've got a list of topics to share with you guys and go through and kind of discuss and, again, have a conversation. So let me say what's up to everybody in the chat real quick. I see Dope Boy Zaz in here saying, let's go. King D hopes OBJ comes back, wishes he never left. I kind of share that sentiment. Bring back OBJ, says Nicholas Colton. What's up, my friend? Rocco saying, let's go. Sinister Stoop, great to see you in here for this live stream. Melvin, Fanatics Fest was fantastic, and I'm going to go ahead and dive in and discuss all the different takeaways that I had from it and tell you guys how the experience was because it really was such a fun time. And if you weren't able to make it this year, hopefully you can make it next year, and hopefully I can meet you next year and we can discuss it together. But also on top of that, there is going to be a pretty exciting opportunity that I'm going to discuss during this live stream for a fan meetup and New York Giants watch party. I'm going to give you guys some hints about it now, but I'm going to present you with a little bit more of a full presentation of it later on in this live stream. We'll discuss it, but just as an early sneak peek of it, there's going to be a New York Giants game watch party in New Jersey hosted by yours truly, featuring Chris the Entertainer talking sports. Him and I are collaborating, teaming up together to watch a Giants game with all of you. So stay tuned to my channel and his channel and our social media channels because we're going to be announcing it, rolling it out, marketing it. You won't want to miss it. It's going to be a great time. So more information on that later on in this live stream. But let's go ahead and start the conversation with Odell Beckham Jr. And obviously, you guys can tell I'm a big OBJ fan. In the background of all of these live streams and videos that I do, there's a signed photograph of Odell Beckham Jr. making the catch, the infamous one-handed catch against the Dallas Cowboys. Giants ended up losing that game, but man, that's a play that will live in infamy forever. It's one of the greatest plays in NFL history, as a matter of fact. But Odell Beckham Jr. now at this point, I mean, it's been 6 years since he was traded away from the New York Giants. It happened in the 2019 offseason, just a couple months before the Giants ended up drafting Daniel Jones. It was a very tough offseason for Giants fans. I will never forget that one because it was excruciatingly painful. Odell was easily, by far, not even close, my favorite player to watch at the time, my favorite player in the New York Giants. I know he was controversial. I know that he had a lot of fans that really didn't like him a whole lot, but he was electric. He was fun to watch, and he obviously captured a portion of the fan base and created some diehard fans of himself and, of course, of the New York Giants during his tenure with Big Blue. But then he was traded to Cleveland, and he described it as Dave Gettleman sending him to Cleveland to die. And after his tenure in Cleveland, he bounced around. He was on a couple of teams, including the Ravens a couple years ago, the Dolphins this past season, and now he's unsigned. It's June, and it seems as though Odell Beckham Jr.'s career is coming to a close. However, this past weekend at Fanatics Fest, he did a panel with Joe Burrow and a few others, and it was, I think, more of a fashion-centric panel than it was a sports-centric panel. We all know Odell Beckham Jr., the founding father of Aura, Mr. Swag himself. He was up there on the panel talking about fashion or whatever, and somebody did shout out to him, a Giants fan, since it was in New York, said, "Come back to the Giants," and he just went, "I got you." And that was it, and it ran like wildfire through the media, through the fans. Everybody all weekend has been talking about it. You guys have been asking me about it, and so that's why I'm here on this live stream to talk about it. Odell Beckham Jr., could he return to the New York Giants? And I'm going to start by saying this. In short, in summary, no. I do not think OBJ is returning to the Giants. I do not think that OBJ is going to be signing with Big Blue. And there's a few reasons why, and I see Josh from Twitter leaving some comments. Thank you for tuning into the Twitter live stream, saying he's got some bad knees. ACL injuries. OBJ would be great alongside Nabers. Listen, I agree, but honestly, at this point in his career, I'm not sure what Odell can actually provide to the team other than maybe mentorship. Now, assuming the Giants were to express interest in him and sign him, it probably would be for the veteran minimum. So it's not like it would hurt their cap space or be a financial burden to sign OBJ. And honestly, it might be a financial incentive to sign OBJ because a lot of fans would probably buy new OBJ jerseys. And listen, there is a portion of the fan base that loves Odell and is so dedicated to him and really misses him and was heartbroken when he was traded away. So I imagine that if he were to re-sign with the Giants somehow, there would be an invigorated portion of the fan base that's really excited by the move. But ultimately, he would just be a camp body, guys. I'm sorry to say this about Odell because I am such a fan of him. But at this stage in his career, he couldn't even get playing time with the Miami Dolphins last year. And he was released by the Miami Dolphins and hasn't found a team since. I think it's more likely that Odell signs a one-day contract to retire a New York Giant than it is he signs a one-year contract to play with the New York Giants. Unfortunate as that might be to say. He's in his 30s now. He's not an effective WR3 even at this point. He's probably a WR5, and I hate to say it, but Adam, you're right. If you want to use the term washed, I do think it applies to Odell. He's not who he was when the Giants drafted him in 2014. Back then, he was electric. He was one of the best wide receivers in the entire sport. Now, I think he struggles to make most active 53-man rosters, including the New York Giants. The Giants, of course, have Malik Nabers as their WR1. They have Darius Slayton signed at $12 million per season. They have Wan'Dale Robinson in a contract year. They have Jalen Hyatt going into year 3 of his career. They have a couple of other undrafted free agents like Bo Collins and Antoine Wells that they want to develop. They have Amir Smith-Marset, who's going to get a roster spot as a wide receiver / return specialist. They have Zach Pascal, a veteran that they signed this past offseason. It's a crowded wide receiver room. I don't see where Odell Beckham Jr. can realistically fit in this wide receiver room. Now, would I love to see him suit back up in Big Blue? Yes, absolutely. I would love to see Odell Beckham Jr. once again be a New York Giant. But unfortunately, I think it's too late. A few years ago, before he signed with the Baltimore Ravens, when he and Joe Schoen apparently had some sort of mutual interest and apparently a meeting back then, that would have been the time to do it because he still had a little bit left in the tank. But at this point in his career, I really question what Odell Beckham Jr. does have left in the tank, if anything at all, and whether or not he actually could make a 53-man roster coming out of a competitive summer of training camp practices. So that's my take on Odell. Guys, I can't tell you how much I love Odell. Like, he is one of my favorite players of all time. If I give you my personal Mount Rushmore of Giants players, Eli Manning is obviously on there. Odell Beckham Jr. is number 2 on there. That's how much of an Odell fan I am. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend like he would be a miracle signing for the Giants. He's not coming home, guys. I mean, maybe on a one-day contract to retire a Giant. But even then, I don't know what the likelihood of that is because after the Giants traded him, they kind of tried to wipe him from the history books for a little bit. They wouldn't post him on social media. They wouldn't do any anniversary posts with him included or anything like that. They really tried to scrub him for a minute there. Now, I think that tempers have cooled. Obviously, it was a little bit of a tumultuous exit. And I think that there's been a reappreciation between him and the Giants. And you know what? Odell has always said that he never wanted to leave New York. He always wanted to be a Giant for life. And I'll just say this to him. Once a Giant, always a Giant. The memories that Odell Beckham Jr. gave us from 2014 to 2018 will live on forever. They're never going anywhere, right? And we can always just appreciate that short time span that we had with him. But it's over. It's in the past. It's in the rear view. And honestly, the Giants need to start looking forward. They can't be going down memory lane and trying to recapture fleeting feelings. They need to create new memories with new players and breed new superstars. We need guys like Jackson Dart to step in and reinvigorate the fan base the way that Odell did in 2014. We need Abdul Carter to give this defense a brand new identity in 2025, like Odell did to the Giants offense in 2014, right? So it's always fun to look back in memory lane and think about these star players and, hey, could we reunite with them? And I get it, fully 100% get it, because Odell is one of my 3 favorite football players of all time, probably. But ultimately, this is a team that's young. This is a team that's retooling. I wouldn't call them rebuilding, but they are retooling, and they are, as a result, looking ahead to the future. They can't continue to look behind themselves into the past. Got to move forward here, and I think that's what the Giants are going to do. So even though Odell said, "I got you," I think he said it in jest. He also, at another point during Fanatics Fest this past weekend, did say to somebody, actually, a fan asked him, would you trade the Super Bowl ring that you have to go back in time and win one with the Giants? And he said, I never wanted to leave New York, basically indicating he's willing to sacrifice that Super Bowl ring to get one with the Giants. And listen, Odell's love for New York, his love for Giants fans is unquestioned. I know for a while, a lot of fans did question it, and they thought he didn't want to be here, and they thought that he hated playing in New York and that he wasn't a fit. I think it was a misreading on those guys' part, because it was very obvious to me throughout his entire tenure here that not only did he want to be here, but he just wanted to win here so badly. And he didn't exactly keep his emotions in check and his feelings about that in check. And so as a result, Dave Gettleman, the absolute supervillain that he was, blew it up and traded him away. But honestly, man, I just wish it went a different path. I just wish that Odell Beckham Jr. was able to find more success and have a longer tenure with the New York Giants. He signed them to an extension. Gettleman had the famous "we didn't sign him to trade him" phrase, and then months later he was traded. It was heartbreaking for us Giants fans that really loved Odell, absolutely. But hey, like I said, we'll always have 2014, the greatest rookie wide receiver season of all time from Odell, and we'll always have 2016, one of the single most dominant skill position seasons that I've ever seen. He willed the New York Giants to the playoffs that year. They didn't do anything in the playoffs, and obviously, Odell caught a lot of criticism for the boat incident, and I won't even go there with it. But that 2016 season is one unlike any other. I will never forget it. Outside of the two Super Bowl runs, the 2007-8 season and 2011-12, 2016 season is my favorite Giants season outside of those Super Bowl runs that I ever watched, because it was just Odell Beckham Jr. carrying that team to victory time and time again. Think about that game against the Baltimore Ravens where he put up a career-high 222 yards, had a game-winning touchdown on a slant and just took off and scored somehow. Had a deep 75-yard touchdown catch in that one as well. Or think about the game against Dallas. I think the Giants won that game 10-7. It was late in the year. It was a really tough matchup, and Odell takes a slant to the house once again, and boom, the New York Giants win that game. Like, I can go down memory lane for a while talking about OBJ. I could talk about all the different catches he made. How about the one-hander that people don't talk about that came against the Rams in his rookie season, weeks and weeks after the catch versus Dallas? Think about his leaping spectacular double grab against the San Francisco 49ers in his rookie season. There were so many great memories that I had watching Odell Beckham Jr. play football. 80-yard touchdown against the New England Patriots. So we can all do this. We can go down memory lane and just talk about how much we love OBJ, but that doesn't change the fact that he is in his 30s. He couldn't even make the Miami Dolphins roster last year or get any playing time there. So it would be unreasonable to expect that he would sign with the Giants and actually play any significant portion of snaps for Big Blue in 2025, especially when they have such a young and crowded wide receiver core of players that they are aiming to develop into long-term contributors. Adding Odell to the mix, the only reason that I could see it happening, the only reason I think it would be positive for it happening is mentorship. Right, I think a lot of Giants fans misread Malik Nabers similarly to how they misread Odell. Honestly, and we're going to get into my conversation or my takeaways from Nabers' conversation with Russell Wilson during Fanatics Fest and his panel. I view Malik Nabers as a very quiet, shy individual who doesn't like the spotlight. For some reason, there's a portion of the Giants fan base, and it's the same portion that didn't like Odell, but there's a portion of the Giants fan base that sees him as this loud, eccentric diva, and he's just not that. He's just a competitive young man and football player who wants to win games and wants to do it at the highest level. And unfortunately, the Giants won only 3 games last year, so of course, tempers flared. But honestly, Nabers, being the star that he is already, could have thrown bigger tantrums and fits last year if he wanted to, but he chose not to. I thought he was really mature about the whole thing, and I think that oftentimes when he speaks, he seems shy. He doesn't want to be in the center of attention with the media. So I don't know. I think that, yeah, of course, he likes the spotlight when he's cooking. Who doesn't? All of the best players, Sinister Soup, all of the best players love the spotlight when they're cooking. But just generally speaking, anytime I see him do media or anytime I see him at any of these events like Fanatics Fest, he is the most shy and reserved guy on those stages. He is the guy who is kind of avoiding the opportunity to answer questions and especially to talk about himself. He doesn't seem to like to do that. Whereas Odell, as much as I love him, loved himself and loved to talk about himself whenever he got the opportunity. He did. It just did. So you compare and contrast Odell and Nabers, and I do think that there could be a good mentorship program there. Like if the Giants were to express interest in Odell and they were to sign Odell, I think that, potentially he could try and show Nabers, hey, these are the mistakes that I made when I was in New York and my mishandling of the media here and there. Make sure you don't do this. Do this instead. Keep your head down. Go here. Don't go there. And I think that could be beneficial, not only to Nabers, but even to Hyatt and some of the other guys on the Giants roster. But ultimately, I just don't think it's realistic, and I don't think there's much of a spot on the Giants depth chart for for Odell Beckham Jr. As much as I love him, and I really would love to see him in Big Blue once again. I just don't think that it's realistically going to happen at any point. So that's my rant on it, guys. Obviously, drop your thoughts. I see a few of you, and I'll go ahead and pull up your comments here. Thy Heracles is saying, good morning from Cali. Ooh, good morning from Cali. 9 a.m. over by you. Noon over here on the East Coast. I do love me some California. I was just out there a few weeks ago, but back in South Florida right now. If Odell were to be signed by NYG, he's more of a coach and sixth string and ultimately retirement. Yeah, that's a pretty good way to summarize the points that I just made. That's what I see for Odell as well if he were to sign with the Giants. Colton saying he would love OBJ. Remember, they had a good visit a year or two ago, but a deal never got done. Bring him back on a cheap deal. He could be WR4 or 5 for us. He could be 4 or 5, or he could be 6 or 7 and cut by the end of the preseason is kind of how I see it. But the deal would be cheap. It definitely would be a veteran minimum. And they did have a good meeting a couple years ago before he ultimately signed with the Baltimore Ravens. Yeah, Sinister Soup, it wasn't me who called out to Odell. I wish it was. I wasn't at that panel, actually. I do wish that I attended, and I really wanted to, but my schedule didn't align for it. That's true, Nicholas. I do think that he would be a boost to the vibes, and he would get the crowd into it just by his presence being there. Melvin wants OBJ to come back. Cali in the house. So, Craig, I mean, listen, I think that the Odell talked shit about Eli narrative is a little bit overblown. Instead of saying that he talked shit about Eli, I think the better way to frame what he did was failed to defend Eli, because he didn't say anything bad about Eli ever once, not ever. In fact, the two of them are still close friends. They poke fun at each other and post on social media about one another somewhat frequently. Whenever Eli is brought up in the media, Odell is the first to sing his praises. He loves Eli Manning, and Eli Manning has only ever had good things to say about Odell Beckham Jr. The moment that you're referring to is, of course, the infamous Lil Wayne interview, which was easily the stupidest thing that Odell ever did when he was with the Giants. That pretty much sealed his fate and got him traded out of there. But what happened was Josina Anderson asked Odell, is the quarterback the problem? And Odell didn't say yes or no. He said, I don't know. And he should have said no. He should have defended Eli Manning and said, Eli Manning is a Hall of Famer, a legend, the two-time Super Bowl champion. He is not the problem. That's what Odell should have said. Instead, he said, I don't know what the problem is, but I hope that we figure it out. And that was, for Giants fans, somehow interpreted as talking shit. But he didn't talk shit about Eli. He never said anything bad about Eli. He just had a bad moment where he failed to defend Eli, and Giants fans, in my opinion, blew it way out of proportion and made him a supervillain out of it. And I just don't think it's fair. He had a mistake there. It certainly was a mistake and not his best moment, but he did not badmouth Eli Manning, in my opinion. Rocco's saying, bring him in as a coach or special assistant to the wide receivers, new start. I don't know if he would be a coach, but if he would be a mentor wide receiver for the summer as a WR6 before getting cut, I guess that's possible. Dope Boy Za, I don't know much about the Giants stadium club seats. I know that MetLife Stadium is considered by many not to be the greatest stadium, but I don't know anything about their club seats. Old Giants Stadium, I actually did sit in a box one time and got free hot dogs and hot chocolate. I was a kid, so it was great. But no, I don't know anything about MetLife Stadium and their club seats, unfortunately. I do think Roby Duels at this point in his career, Odell certainly is more mature. I think when you read about what he did during his time with the Baltimore Ravens, he wasn't much of an impact player for that team. He was kind of a rotating WR2/3, maybe even 4 at times in those games. But it seems like he did have a pretty good positive effect on Zay Flowers as kind of a mentorship figure. And so there was obviously some criticism and some controversy. Did he take some plays off? Whatever. Odell, was he losing a step back then? Certainly probably was. But there was no criticism of his leadership. There was a lot of praise for it, in fact, and his maturity as kind of a mentor to Zay Flowers. So that would be the selling point for me if Odell were to sign with the Giants, would again be his mentorship and what he could provide to the young wide receivers on this team. But like I said, young wide receivers on this team. Let's talk about Malik Nabers and Russell Wilson, because Nabers and Russ had a conversation during a panel with a bunch of other Giants, not Giants, but New York athletes and personalities. And there were some pretty great quotes. Actually, let me pull up Fireside Giants Instagram to pull those quotes because I posted them there. But Russell Wilson explained why he came to the New York Giants, and he said he came to the New York Giants because Malik Nabers is the best receiver in the league. He said that he wanted to play with somebody special like Malik Nabers, and he said that Malik Nabers is the reason why he signed with the New York Giants, and that got me really excited. And that was kind of a moment where everybody sitting in the room listening to the panel, I feel like kind of sat forward in their seats and got a little bit hyped. You know, a lot of Giants fans in there, a lot of Giants fans who wanted to hear something like Russell Wilson praising Malik Nabers and seeing the two of them interact on the stage. They seem like they've already built a rapport. They seem like they're already having a budding chemistry. And Russ couldn't say enough good things about Nabers. Every chance that he got to bring up Malik and give him some praise and say what a great athlete he is and what a great young man he is, Russell Wilson took the opportunity and ran with it, which was really exciting. So you look at Russell Wilson, and I know a lot of Steelers fans have responded to those quotes that I posted and been like, well, he signed there because he didn't have anywhere else to sign or blah, 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 whatever. But honestly, Russell Wilson had a few suitors. He could have went back to Pittsburgh. He could have went to the Browns. He could have went to the Titans. He chose the New York Giants, and I do think the Giants were the most attractive destination out of all of those, but they're also the most attractive destination in part because they have Malik Nabers. So Nabers also said something that I thought was really fun. He said on the panel that he wants Giants fans to be a little bit more like Knicks fans this year with this quote, "You see all the videos of them going crazy after the Knicks games. I need that going for the Giants this year," end quote. What do you guys think? Can we get some big hyped up celebrations in the Big Apple for Malik Nabers and the Giants if they win some clutch games this year? That's the only thing. Nabers is like, oh, we need some of that for the Giants this year. Well, we need some wins. We can't celebrate without the wins. When you win 3 games in a single season, there's not a whole lot to celebrate. But if the Giants win 9 games this year, honestly, I think Giants fans should be celebrating like crazy. You know, if we pick up a 9th win in week 17, I think the Giants should be out there, or Giants fans should be out there in Manhattan going crazy. Like, why not? Because this team has been so bad for so long. We shouldn't take it for granted when the Giants do win some games. We should definitely celebrate our asses off when they do get some big wins and celebrate together. I think that's important. Yeah, Justin, the Giants won't be like the Knicks. The Knicks are almost a powerhouse at this point, and the Eastern Conference is wide open now in the NBA based on some of the injury developments from the postseason. So the Knicks are going to be poised to make another deep playoff run, if not even a championship run next year. Giants, not necessarily, as Josh says, the schedule is brutal this year. But I do think they're going to be a lot better this year. And like Adam says, are they set up to contend? Maybe, maybe not, but they've definitely got enough talent to compete. I don't know about contend, but compete, they absolutely could do that. So I would be really curious to see, how Giants fans respond if they do pick up 5 wins in 7 weeks. Cameron Simpson, my friend, my best friend here. Thank you for the super chat, dropping one in from across the pond. Or are you perhaps still even further off the charting map here? Cameron Simpson saying in the super chat, the people need to see your highlights at wide receiver, the Italian OBJ. Yeah, back in my day, I was pretty nasty at the one-handed catch. I mastered the art of the one-handed catch. In fact, I'm really good. I have very big hands for a guy my size. And yeah, Cameron's still in Morocco. I didn't want to dox you and say the exact location that you were in, but yeah, I hope you're really enjoying the vacation in Morocco. And I'm going to call you tomorrow, Thursday or Friday, one of these upcoming days, so we can catch up and want to hear all about your trip. But yeah, guys, I was the Italian OBJ. I could reach back like 1-3 and make every catch that you could imagine. So now I'm QB1 because as time went on, my short burst in athleticism, a couple knee injuries later, kind of dissipated. So now I throw the ball instead of catching it. But believe me, I can make some highlight catches, and you'll see more of that soon enough on the channel. We've got some fun stuff planned for you. But before we move on with the conversation, I want to show you guys something pretty cool. I got a new shirt on. This is available on empiresportsmedia.com. It is our T-Dex t-shirt. It's very comfortable. It's a comfort color shirt, if you guys know what that is. But this is the T-Dex shirt. This is a design that our graphic designer, Danny, shout out to my good friend Danny, put together for us. It is an official FSG, FSG t-shirt, Fireside Giants logo on it. And it's Dexter Lawrence as a T-Rex. So if you like Jurassic Park, the new one comes out next week. And if you like Dexter Lawrence, the New York Giants, Fireside Giants, this is the t-shirt for you. I think this thing is absolutely sick, so I'm rocking it today, and I hope to see some of you rocking it as well when we do some fan meetups later this year. I can't wait. Pretty cool shirt. So go over to empiresportsmedia.com, click the store tab, and go ahead and find it under the Fireside Giants section. But let's go ahead and get back into the conversations and talk some more about the quotes from Fanatics Fest. Another panel that I attended, which was a really interesting panel. Colton, I think it's about $25. It's under 30. I know that. I'm going to drop the link to it, actually. I'll drop the link to the t-shirt right now. Yeah, $24.99. So, guys, go ahead and pick up that shirt if you like it. Anyway, Eli Manning had a panel this weekend on Friday morning that I did attend. It was Eli Manning and Peyton Manning, which always love to see the two of them interacting together. They're so much fun. And then it was Caleb Williams, Bryce Young, and CJ Stroud. And essentially the concept of the panel, and also it was hosted by Kay Adams, the concept of the panel was that Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, and Caleb Williams were going to be speaking to Eli and Peyton and trying to get some advice and mentorship from them on the spot from everybody. And Eli and Peyton had some really interesting pieces of advice to share that I thought were applicable not only to Bryce, to CJ, and to Caleb, but also to Jackson Dart and any other young quarterbacks. So I'm going to go over some of those quotes that I did capture from them and try and take away what I can for Jackson Dart. And one of the most interesting ones that I heard was from Peyton Manning. We'll talk about some of the quotes that Eli had as well. I know you guys are probably eager for that because Eli's our GOAT. But Peyton Manning said, quote, "Experience is your best teacher. The more reps you get, the more effective you can be moving forward," end quote. And I found that very interesting, especially as we sit here with Jackson Dart on this roster as the QB3 behind Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson. We have the expectation that Jackson Dart is going to play a very small amount of football this upcoming season. However, Peyton Manning has the belief that he should play a lot of football this season, that playing and getting reps and experience is the way that you grow as a young quarterback. And obviously, I don't necessarily fully agree with Peyton Manning, but he's Peyton Manning, so his opinion holds a little bit more weight than mine. But there are different schools of thought here because if the Giants believe this, then Jackson Dart would be the QB1 already, right? So Brian Dable maybe disagrees with Peyton Manning. Maybe Peyton Manning, has just a different take on it, and that's fine. There's going to be different takes from different NFL legends, and including Tom Brady has said before that he thinks sitting can be beneficial. And even during the panel, Peyton said, like, listen, Mahomes sat. There are quarterbacks who sat. Everybody's path is different, and there's no one way to develop a quarterback. But he believes that getting reps early and getting a lot of reps is really important to develop a quarterback. And so I want to open this up for all of you who are live in the chat with me and get your take and opinion on it. Do you think Jackson Dart should play a lot of football this year, or do you think he should sit? Peyton Manning says getting him out there and getting experience is the best way for him to learn, grow, and develop. However, Fireside Giants and the Giants themselves think that letting him sit, grow behind the scenes is the best way to get him to develop. And so I'm curious what you guys think, because I think there's a bunch of different examples you can look at. CJ Stroud entered his rookie season and learned on his feet. He got beat up and he threw some picks and he made some mistakes early in that season. But as the season went on, those reps were valuable and the experience was important. And by the end of it, he was in the playoffs with the Houston Texans and he was a great quarterback by the end of his rookie season. He grew throughout the year, though, and that's because he was on the field early and got those reps and got those snaps and all that experience. However, let's look at a different side of the coin. So CJ Stroud did it successfully. But Bryce Young struggled immensely as a rookie. Didn't have a lot of talent around him, threw a lot of picks, lost his confidence. Year 2, lost his confidence, got benched, regained his confidence while on the bench behind the scenes, came back out and played some good football down the final stretch of the year. So it's kind of interesting because you could see it in a few different ways. And ultimately, my take on it is a little bit more in the middle. I see Giants fans say to bubble wrap Dart, don't let him play a snap until 2026. And I don't agree with that. I see other Giants fans say Jackson Dart should start week 1 because he is the future of the franchise and we should get the future started now. And I don't agree with that either. I agree with something in the middle. At some point this season, we need to see Jackson Dart. Barring an unforeseen and dominant 2025 campaign from Russell Wilson that has us as a first seed in the playoffs, right? If the Giants are dog walking people going into playoffs, we don't need to see Jackson Dart. Let's go ahead and try and win as many games as possible. But more realistically, if the Giants are a middle-of-the-pack team, I do think at some point we need to see Jackson Dart. And there's a few reasons why. First of all, I do think the experience is important. And I'm not saying that he needs to start half the year, that he needs to start even more than 4 or 5 games, but he does need to get some playing time experience for a few reasons. First and foremost, there's no way to simulate what you're getting on the NFL football field in practice. It is a different game once you're on the actual football field in the regular season. And he does need that experience before he steps into 2026 as the starter. Experience is important. And also, I think what's really important is for the Giants to have some film on Jackson Dart. I think everybody needs to remember this is a regime coming off of a 3-14 season. At the end of the year, John Mara said that he was pissed off and that these guys basically survived by the skin of their teeth. He was very close to firing everybody and cleaning house. He elected not to. Okay, but the only reason why he elected not to is because they had a clear plan at the quarterback position. And that plan needs to be seen. And that plan needs to be demonstrated. And the only way that that plan can be demonstrated is by seeing a little bit of Jackson Dart this year. But let's imagine that the Giants once again win only 4 games this year. Do you really think John Mara is going to show mercy once again? Or do you think he's going to fire everybody? I think he's going to fire everybody. But if the Giants end up cleaning house, the new regime coming in needs to have some film on Jackson Dart. So, especially if they're picking in the top 10, if they're in striking range of drafting a quarterback next offseason, this new regime coming in needs to have a little bit of film on the quarterback that's already on the roster because they need to decide, hey, do we want to keep Jackson Dart or do we want to draft his replacement? We've seen that before, haven't we? Justin Fields got traded only 2 years into his career. Josh Rosen obviously got traded infamously a year after his career with the Arizona Cardinals. We've seen new regimes come in, ship out the old regime's quarterback, and take their own. That happens a lot. Unless that rookie quarterback showed some promise and that new regime coming in saw that promise on film and decided to stick with the quarterback that the other regime drafted. Daniel Jones showed some promise in his rookie season. And as a result, the new regime coming in elected to retain him. Joe Judge elected to retain him and move forward with him. So when you look at it all in a vacuum and you look at it in a nutshell, getting film on Dart is important. And it's also important not for the new regime to make a decision, but also for the New York Giants current regime to make a decision. What if the Giants coaching staff decides at the end of the year, hey, they keep their jobs. Let's imagine they keep their jobs. Dable's still here. Joe Shane is still here. What if at the end of the year, they're like, I don't know if we saw enough from Dart. We need to go back and look at the film before we move forward into 2026 without re-signing Russell Wilson or signing a new quarterback. What if they're not encouraged by what they saw on the film? They need to have that film to know whether or not Jackson Dart is ready. And if they're encouraged by it, he'll be the starter in 2026. But if they're not encouraged by it, then potentially they re-sign Russell Wilson or they move on with Jameis Winston as a starting quarterback going into 2026. So again, there's a lot of value to having some game film so that you can evaluate Jackson Dart and know whether or not he's going to be ready to start in 2026. I do think that's a really important, underrated talking point that we need a little bit more attention paid to. So at some point this season, I do think Jackson Dart needs to play. The Giants need to get some film on him. He needs to get some experience. And I'm not saying that he needs to take over as a starter halfway through the season. If it's after the bye week in week 14 and he only plays week 15, 16, 17, and 18, 4 games, That's a month of film. That's 4 full games of film that's really valuable and full 4 games of experience. Or inversely, it doesn't need to be full games. If the Giants are getting blown out in week 7, they're down by 3 touchdowns with 2 minutes left. Let Jackson Dart play those 2 minutes and get a little bit of experience. Or if they're blowing out an opponent, they're up by 4 touchdowns with 10 minutes left. Let Jackson Dart play those 10 minutes. Let him go out there and finish the game and get a little bit of experience commanding the huddle in an NFL stadium. So again, those are different ways that the Giants can get Jackson Dart experience without moving on from Russell Wilson prematurely. You guys know how excited I am for Russ, how high I am on Russ, and how optimistic I am about the Giants this year because of Russ. So don't think that this is me saying I want to rush Jackson Dart into the lineup, because I don't. In an ideal world, the Giants win 15 games this year. They're the first seed. Russell Wilson takes us to the promised land. Let's ride. We get a Super Bowl trophy with Russell Wilson as our Super Bowl MVP. That's the ideal world. But do we live in the ideal world? We live in reality, and reality tells you that this is probably going to be a middle-of-the-road season for the Giants. And if that's the case, they need to find some ways proactively to get Dart a little bit of playing time and experience. That's my take on it. I'm not trying to see him bubble wrapped completely this year, even if, if there is an opportunity to get him on the field, he should get some experience, in my opinion. So let's get into the chat here. Do you think we'll see Dart play in a preseason game? And follow-up question, should he? 100% he should. I'm going to go to a preseason game this year because I can't wait to see Jackson Dart play, and he will play in the preseason without a shadow of a doubt. He'll probably play a lot in the preseason because the Giants know he's not going to play much during the regular season, or at least not in the early portion of the regular season. So I think they're going to want to get him a good amount of practice reps in the preseason. Adam making a good counterpoint here. Peyton didn't have a Russ in front of him. He also was the number 1 pick. There are a lot of people, myself included, who thought Dart was a day 3 talent. And hey, if you think Dart was a day 3 talent, then yeah, you don't want him to see the field this year. However, Joe Shane and Brian Dable had a conviction in him. They viewed him as a day 1 talent. That's why they took him in the first round and traded a day 2 2026 pick to go up and get him. So you're right. He wasn't the number 1 pick. He doesn't need to start in week 1. And again, by no means am I advocating for week 1 starting quarterback Jackson Dart. I just want him to get some experience and some playing time at some point this season, like most end of the first round quarterbacks do. I mean, guys, Eli Manning was the number 1 overall pick, and he only played 6 games as a rookie because he wasn't the polished, finished talent that Peyton Manning was. So, and not that he was a polished, finished talent either. He threw 26 picks as a rookie. So, there's no one way to develop a quarterback. Everybody has a different path to being a successful quarterback. But I just think that experience is valuable. And while I do want to let Dart take his time to grow, I do want to see him also get a little bit of experience. Quinn saying, Rivardo, let's ride. Let's ride, Quinn. Thanks for popping into the stream. David saying, Phil Simms said the same thing as you, Anthony. Let him sit and learn a while till he is ready, then get him in there. Yeah, I think once he's ready, he is going to take over. That seems to be what all of the reporters are saying around the NFL. So we'll see. And Adam, that's fine that you disagree. It's totally fine. But, we'll see it differently. And ultimately, it's going to be up to the Giants how they see it. And then we'll figure out who's right and who's wrong once we get Dart on the field. Kurt Warner started then before Eli. Yeah, that's true. Kurt Warner was the starter. The Giants were in the playoff hunt before Eli went in the lineup and started to stink it up. Yeah, Adam, time will tell. None of us have a crystal ball. None of us are able to look ahead and determine exactly how things are going to go for Dart. But again, I just want the Giants to nail this development. And I do think that part of it is ensuring that they have some film on him so that whether a new regime takes over or not, they have a way to evaluate him going forward. So once again, taking off the overlay so you guys can see the T-Dex shirt. I did drop that in the chat. Make sure you guys go pick one up if you're rocking with it. But I'm also dropping that off because I want to show you guys something really cool. There's going to be a more official announcement on the channel in the coming days about this. But for those of you who are tuned into the live stream, you're getting an early sneak preview at this. And I'm really excited to show this to you all. This is a big deal for us here at Fireside Giants, and it's going to be a big deal for all of you as well. If you are in the New York, New Jersey area, for the upcoming week 1 of the NFL, we have an awesome surprise in store for you that I'm so excited to share. The Bayzara Music Festival. This is the inaugural festival, the first year of Bayzara taking place during NFL opening weekend, September 6th and 7th. Now, you guys might be saying, why are you bringing up a music festival? Well, I'm bringing up a music festival so that I can announce to you all that I am part of the talent at the music festival. No, I am not singing. I am not playing the drums. I am not musically gifted. The one thing that I do well in this life is talk New York Giants, and you guys can come talk New York Giants with me at the Bezara Music Festival. There's a discount code Big Blue. You can use Big Blue at checkout for 15% off your order. And you can go ahead and get VIP tickets so that you get to hang out with me. I'll be doing a live show there at the Bezara Music Festival on Saturday. And on Sunday, like I said, live watch party over at a restaurant. You can come watch the New York Giants game with me. Let's get as many Giants fans to that restaurant as we possibly can to watch the game all together and celebrate the start of the 2025 season, Giants versus Commanders, on that Sunday. Again, there's going to be a more official announcement on the channel posted this week, and there's going to be a bunch of social media posts that we make about this. But for those of you who are in here early during this live stream, wanted to share this with you. Really excited about this, really proud of this, and can't wait to see some of you there at the Bezara Music Festival. If you like music, you like going to festivals, it's a great experience, a great opportunity. And if you want to talk some Giants with me, see me do an episode of Fireside Giants live, witness that in person, you'll get to see it that Saturday at the Bezara Music Festival. So I can't wait. And the big sweetener that I have for you, it's not on the website yet because I just confirmed this, Chris the Entertainer will be joining me. I know you guys love the Entertainer. I freaking love the Entertainer. I actually just ran into him on Long Island on Saturday, which was insane. Just by chance, ran into him in a restaurant. But Chris the Entertainer will be joining me at the Bezara Music Festival and at that restaurant on Sunday to watch a Giants game. You can watch a Giants game with me and the Entertainer and a bunch of other Giants fans in New Jersey. It's going to be a blast. I absolutely cannot wait for it. So there's the first initial announcement of that. I wanted to share that with you guys. Again, really excited about it, very proud of it. And hopefully you guys are interested. I'm going to drop the link in the chat as well. You guys can go ahead and get some tickets if you'd like. Again, use code BIGBLUE at checkout for a percentage off. And yeah, I'll see you guys at the Bezara Music Festival. We'll have a fun time. But anyway, get back into the conversation now with the New York Giants and talk a little bit more about the Fanatics Fest quotes that I found really interesting. We'll dive into the quotes from Eli Manning because, like I said, Peyton Manning had some interesting quotes on developing quarterbacks. Eli Manning had some interesting quotes as well. He had one that I found really profound, said, "If you're wondering if the game ever gets easy, it doesn't." End quote. He said that it will get easier, but the game never becomes easy because teams are constantly adapting and learning how to throw you off and learning your weaknesses. And so you always have to stay vigilant and stay on top of things and trying to get better. And I thought that, he was essentially speaking to Bryce Young, to Caleb Williams, to CJ Stroud, but in effect, he was also speaking to Jackson Dart and any other young quarterbacks. So I found that quote to be very applicable, especially to the conversation that we're having. Should Jackson Dart play? Should he sit? These are big question marks. Listen, part of it as well is the game's not going to get any easier from Jackson Dart sitting on the bench for a full year. It's still going to be hard when he gets on the field in 2026. It's going to be just as hard. It's not going to get easier. So I do think that getting him some playing time and getting him acclimated to how difficult the NFL is actually an important thing and something that the Giants do need to do during his rookie season. Greg, I agree with you. This is definitely the slow period now and until the end of next month when the rookies and the veterans report for training camp. Listen, I cannot wait for training camp. But yeah, this is going to be some slow time. But I do have a lot of great stuff planned for you guys in terms of content here on Fireside Giants. A lot of you have asked for me to collaborate with Marshall from Chat Sports. Well, I'm happy to announce he will be coming on the channel soon, as well as D-Backs Academy, Brian Walker, trainer for Xavier McKinney, Jabril Peppers, Darnay Holmes, and some other former Giants. He's going to be coming on to talk about the Giants' new secondary upgrades. Drew Lieberman, Darius Slayton's personal wide receiver coach. He's coming on the channel soon enough here. And they'll be bringing on some of the New York Giants / New Jersey beat writers as well. So over the next month, we have a lot planned for you guys, a lot of fun stuff that I've been working on behind the scenes, as well as, of course, some of these engagement opportunities like the Bezara Music Festival, which I can't wait to meet you guys at. So Really fun month ahead. I know that it's a slow portion of the offseason, but it's not going to be slow here on Fireside Giants. I have so much great stuff planned for you guys. Can't wait for you to see it. Roby Duels with this comment. What does that say there? Scataboo. Scataboo! Yeah, I got you. I know that's what you wanted. Sinister Soup saying, can't you use that crystal ball you use when making your draft predictions? You guys are spot on every time. If I had to use my crystal ball that I use to make draft predictions, my prediction on Jackson Dart's career is that he will be a starting quarterback. It's tough to determine what his ceiling is going to be. I do think he has a pretty high potential ceiling, but I think a lot of what he ends up becoming is going to be determined by the first couple of seasons that he has with the Giants and how those go. But ultimately, I'm very high on Jackson Dart, as you all know. I'm a big fan of him. I said prior to the draft that I thought he was going to be the steal of the draft. I said that in January. That's when I thought he was going to be a mid-round draft pick, but he's a first-round pick, and I think he's in the perfect environment with the Giants, with Jameis, with Russell Wilson, with Dable. So I do think that we're going to see a very successful career for Jackson Dart. You guys are really excited for that. Marshall and Anthony. Yeah, this is going to be really cool. I'm excited to have him on. I haven't collaborated with him yet, but we will definitely be collaborating very soon, and I can't wait. Yeah, I ran into Chris twice this weekend. I couldn't believe it. It was very, very strange, but very awesome. I was really happy to finally meet him in person. Josh lives in Florida, left Jersey in 2010. Josh, I live in Florida. I left New York in 2011. But yeah, the Bizarre Music Festival will be in New Jersey. Again, I dropped a link. You guys can get more info there. And again, there's going to be more announcements on the channel soon. But really excited for it. Colton, I wish you can make it. Montana's pretty far away. If you can't make it, no stress. Don't worry about it. Happy to have your viewership on the channel regardless. Greg saying, try and get Big Dash on the channel too if you can. I've had him on the channel a couple of times before. He's definitely going to be somebody that I want to bring on over this next month as we're bringing on recurring guests on the channel. So obviously I mentioned Marshall's going to come on. I'll probably invite Diggy on as well. I'll invite Big Dash. I'll invite plenty of people on. Really excited to get a nice rotation of guests on here for you guys. I know that you guys do really like when we collaborate. So Chris the Entertainer will. So there's going to be a lot of different faces shared on the channel alongside me here. So I'm really excited for that. I'm also excited to announce, guys, not only are we going to be doing a fan meetup, a watch party together in New Jersey in week 1, but the following weeks, we are going to be doing live watch parties on the channel. So you guys have been asking for this for a couple of seasons now. Hey, why don't you guys stream during the games? Why don't you guys do live streams and watch the games with us? Well, we have no reason not to anymore. We will be doing them. So you will be seeing me live reacting. Scataboo scores a touchdown. Scataboo! Neighbor scores a touchdown. Leak! Yeah, so it's gonna be a lot of fun. I can't wait to watch the games live with you guys. It's gonna be pretty cool. So, this is gonna be a big season for Fireside Giants. I think it's gonna be a big season for the New York Giants, but I can't even tell you guys what I have planned because I've got a lot planned, but I am going crazy this year. Fireside Giants is going to the moon this year, and I really want all of you to be on this rocket ship with me. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Sinister Soup saying, try and get Alex on the channel at some point for live stream. Yeah, I will. It's going to happen soon. We're going to get him back on the channel real soon. He's got some things that he's working out, and he's trying to get back into an easier situation is how I'm going to describe it delicately. But Alex will be back on the channel real soon. Don't worry. The Giant Topic need to collab. That would be a good show. I wonder. I'm not sure if I'm familiar with the Giant Topic. But yeah, I don't follow. I'm going to give them a follow. And you let them know to hit me up. And if they want to, they don't have DMs open. So if they want to join on here, I'm, again, happy to have these recurring guests over the next month or so. And I would definitely be open to collaborating with the Giant Topic or any other Giants content creators you guys want. Comment the #1 content creator that covers the Giants that you want to see on Fireside Giants down below. Whether it's the entertainer, it's Big Dash, it's Giants Topic, it's Marshall, whoever it is, leave it in the live chat. Who do you want to see me collaborate with? Greg, got to invest in that home studio. Odell picture is getting lonely up there. You know what's so strange is when I put the Odell picture up, that was supposed to be step one. And then I had something else that I was going to put here, but I was deciding between a couple of things. And then I just kind of forgot. And so now we do have this lonely Odell Beckham Jr. up here. He looks rather lonely, and you are right. I do need to go ahead and put something on this portion of the wall. In fact, I think I'm going to go with a signed jersey. I just got to figure out which one. Is it going to be Eli? Is it going to be Lawrence Taylor? I've got one of those. So we'll see. But yeah, you're right. I do need to do a little bit more with the background here. Signed framed photo, signed jersey, something. Something's got to be behind me because OBJ does look a little bit lonely. You are right about that. Big Dash collab. I'll get him back on the channel. Dash has been on here a couple of times. I really like Big Dash. He's very knowledgeable, and he's got a good analysis of the Giants. So we'll definitely have him back on the channel soon. I'll get Bad Dog on the channel as well. I do Giants Collective with Bad Dog, of course. If you guys aren't subscribed to that, make sure you sub. That channel is actually going dark for a couple of weeks. We're not going to be live streaming on there. We're taking a little break until training camp starts, which is pretty cool. I definitely need a little bit more time to focus on FSG solely. So yeah, but I'll get Bad Dog on as well for sure. Marsh we'll get Marshall on here too. I'm excited to have him on. Haven't really actually had any FaceTime with him. Gary, I don't think Cope Pizzle wants to come on the channel. He hates me for some reason. I don't know why, but it's okay. Yeah, Bad Dog, Chris, Adriana. Just mispronounced her name. It's Adriana. Yes, they're fantastic people. I love doing Giants Collective with them, and I'll rotate all of them on at Fireside Giants as well. Whenever they want to come on, they're obviously always more than welcome. My good friends there. So, but yeah, guys, I am going to start to wind down this live stream here. I've only got a couple more minutes left in me because I do need to run to an appointment. Next week is my birthday, which means that my driver's license expires next week. So I got to go ahead and get a new one today. So that's where I'm going to be going as soon as this live stream ends. Oh, Rocco. Yeah, that's a good one. License plate guy. I'll definitely invite him on. We've had him on the channel before, but it's been a while. So we're due to bring him back on. I'll definitely hit him up and see if he wants to come talk some Giants over the next month. So like I said, guys, we've got a lot planned. So we've got Drew Lieberman. That's Darius Slayton's wide receiver coach. We've got D-Backs Academy, who's an NFL defensive backs coach. I'm going to hit up TBR Training once again, who used to train Justin Tuck and O.C. Manura and a bunch of Giants guys. You can probably expect to see him on the channel soon. Marshall, as I mentioned, I'm going to hit up Big Dash for you guys. I know you really want to see that. I'm going to hit up LPG and Chris, Bad Dog, Adriana, all these people that you guys want to see. I will get in contact with them ASAP. And over this next month, I know things are slow. There's not going to be a lot of Giants news, so we will fill things in by bringing on different Giants creators and having good talks about Giants football. So appreciate everybody. I see you, SPP Williams, saying happy birthday. Thank you so much, my friend. Yeah, my birthday is 1 week from tomorrow, next Wednesday, July 2nd. Maybe I'll stream on my birthday and have some fun. We'll see. I don't know. But yeah, thank you so much, SPP Williams. Appreciate everybody who did tune in. We had over 240 of you in here. A lot of you coming over from Twitter. Appreciate everybody's viewership over on Fireside Giants on x.com/Twitter. It's formerly known as, but appreciate you all for tuning in for a nice live stream, almost an hour long. Been a minute since I streamed, but believe me, guys, I'm getting back into the daily uploads and the daily streams. It's the slow portion of the Giants off season, but I'm going to try and upload as often as I possibly can for you guys. Appreciate everybody who did tune in today. Thank you so much. I'll catch you on the next one. Have a good one. Before I do go, make sure you go check out the Bazar Music Festival. Make sure you go check that out. Me and the Entertainer live at a music festival, talking Giants, doing an episode just like this, a live stream just like this. I can't wait for it. It's going to be awesome. So appreciate everybody who tuned in. Make sure you go check that out. And Sinister Soup, with your last question to round it out. Any chance of getting a live from training camp episode in July? There's definitely a chance of that. I'm going to try my best to go to training camp this year in about a month from now. And so just stay tuned. I'll keep you guys posted on the channel. But once again, guys, thanks so much. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. I'll catch you on the next one. Have a good one. And let's go New York Giants.
perfect.